how do we feel about our brother Kanye?
Who, your brother?
I mean, he's our brother.
That's not my brother.
He is our brother.
No, he's not. Would he tell
Damn, we're disowning Ye now all together?
Wait.
Are we canceling Ye?
It's not even about.
Ye is canceled.
It's not even
canceled.
about.
So if you hear a Kanye song come on, let's say it's on shuffle on your car on your iPod.
Get the fuck out. We don't care. I don't care.
Listen, Dave.
I'm still in the room. Like, if y'all don't want to be in the room, y'all can get the fuck out. I don't have no problems, no calls. Look, I just don't find, like, people who actually have contributed to, like, black culture, like, I don't find them easily disposable. Like, we have an issue with that shit, and I really, it boils my fucking everything, like, to my core, because in essence, what we're seeing with this man is that he is coming off of an incredible traumatic thing. I don't know if you guys watched the Charlemagne or cared. Just what he was talking about on that shit, it made you understand the anguish and the things that we easily kind of can forget with somebody who deals with so much on one side.
So I will tell you, that was probably one of the most vulnerable moments I've seen him at.
Incredibly.
When he was explaining on how he felt when Life of Pablo dropped, and he didn't feel like he was getting the critical acclaim that he got when Graduation dropped. And he's looking for reassurances. Like, literally, you saw how much he was looking for reassurances from other people to validate himself and validate his work. And like I said, it's a vulnerable moment, but at the same time, it's like, you are who you are. You're the artist. You represent the creativity. That's your product. You know that you were. When you release that product, you're an artist. It's an image of your perfection. I'm done with it. Like, you should appreciate what you release because it's a project worth being appreciated.
I feel like he wanted the Life of Pablo, to be like the rebound from Yeezus, because I feel like when Yeezus dropped,
commercial rebound,
so many of his like true fans were like, "What the fuck? What Kanye is this? Like, what is this? I'm not messing with this Yeezus Kanye." So he dropped Life of Pablo, which were some there were some dope tracks on the Life of Pablo.
Stuck on some old shit though, because he's getting incredibly streamed a lot. Like, that album was streamed on all platforms incredibly, but I guess that he's the guy who's in his car, probably a Tesla, riding around, and like, shit, he wants to play the radio, and he's on whatever. I think Power 105 is the one out in LA. Like,
iHeartRadio,
yeah, and probably not hearing the coverage, but he's not realizing that the landscape of radio is so shit now. Like,
doing all of this stuff it's reminding us that he's human, right? Because I feel like when we have our favorite artists, without knowing it subconsciously, I feel like we put them on pedestals.
Right.
So when they act out of character, it's like a reminder to us, like, oh shit, this nigga has feelings too. Like,
throughout the entire time that I've known you, I know how much of a fan of the person, the artist, the creative that you are of Kanye.
He's right behind you too.
Hey, what up?
Watching you.
That man.
That's the Kanye that we're a fan of, though.
Right. I have yet to hear you criticize Kanye ever.
So,
like, not once.
So you want me to
for anything?
So you want to know what
So with his and because we've bashed the shit out of Trump on this radio, on this dial, I was curious to see how you felt with him embracing that.
The main thing I'm seeing with him is that he's like he's processing things in front of us. What I'm seeing with him is that, like, if I know for a fact that if I said some of the shit that I was thinking when I was thinking about that, or like my sister's a lesbian, and like really figuring out like how I should be processing and accepting and looking at the LGBT community. Like, if I said things that I like the first thought to my mind, I'm pretty sure I would get crucified fucking for it. I am not Kanye West. I don't have a platform. And I feel like everybody's mad at him because he has a huge platform. He has a responsibility, but that's not something that he necessarily like. It's unfair because like he has to be able to process things. But I also feel like it's fucked up the people that he's around mostly, because what we're seeing is that the people who actually will like defer from him and be like, hey, no, this is the right thing, have now been reaching out to him because he's being public about it. Because maybe he's too incubated in his life. And I've heard that people say, oh, they try to get to Kanye and it's hard to, like, 2 people you got to call just to get to this person to get to that person. So when I look at the Trump shit, he's not saying...
And the slavery shit.
Okay. One thing at a time.
A lot of tweets to get upset about.
So with the Trump situation and the Trump, I guess what people consider allyship, I think what I know, my interpretation, because I don't have facts and like I talk to the man himself, is that like he's just trying to use this like love thing. And my problem with this is that like what Stan Lathan said, is that it overlooks the trauma of people who still have to deal with it on an everyday basis. And that's a privilege that he recognized, because if you watch further on the TMZ video, he like damn near bust out some tears apologizing to Stan and the rest of the people at TMZ. Van. Yeah, apologizing to him and like the rest of the people in that office for not understanding at first, but knowing that he has the right thing to want to do in his heart. And that is my thing. His intention is like pure.
Kanye's so far removed from real life
right
now that like he doesn't even understand. Like, you're a nigga from Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the pride that he had when he first came out, I think that's what we're missing. But I do agree with you. I feel like his approach is 100%. I understand
so
where
genuine.
he's going with it, but it's just like
ever since that Van Lathan like clapback or whatever, which I feel was not just a read, it was more so like when your family get your ass the fuck back in line.
Yep.
His whole thing has shifted, because now instead of talking about the future, he tweeted today like, I'm I'm hyper focused on the now, in like kind of like a Buddhist kind of way. Like, look, if we tried hate, which he's right, if you look at the math, it has not worked for us. We've got incrementally greater, but in trying to combat them the way they combat us, we're always outnumbered.
But
time out. We always end up dying, which I'm not saying that we shouldn't stop fighting and just being like, oh, put our guns down and hug, because it's really not on us to stop racism. That's the other thing.
But
like,
but
us loving them is not going to keep them from fucking hating us.
It's one thing to combat that, but it's another thing to spit and put out literally incorrect, false, right-wing narratives to combat.
But he's not doing it. But
he was. But he was.
Yeah,
though.
and then he aligned himself with Shorty or whatever, and she was the black conservative girl. And then she's like, oh, he doesn't really know about things like that.
Right. Well, so she was shouting out, oh, yeah, 90% of black-on-black crime is committed by is black-on-black crime. It's like, duh, you're only going to commit crime
of black
against
murders are black-on-black crime.
On black-on-black crime. It's like, of course, the only crime that's going to happen is with people you're in vicinity. And I bet she didn't also spout out that 85% of white crime is committed by white-on-white crime. So it's like,
and the amount of police officers that have domestic violence abuses and all types of
just
nuanced facts.
So this is what I'm saying, like spitting out nuanced, just bullshit, but repeating it from that podium that he has, and that wearing the Make America Great hat again.
Which is the same thing he did with the Confederate flag, mind you, when Jesus came out.
Right,
it's the exact same fucking thing. So I don't want us to act like this is some new shit. Like, this is the exact
same thing. Well, even so, like, he embraced Trump when his first day when he was elected. He was down there
because nobody else would fucking talk to him.
That's not true.
But can we just
Ray Lewis was down there.
We're not gonna fucking talk about no goddamn.
You said nobody else.
No. You know what I'm saying.
Steve Harvey was down there.
You know what I'm saying. Steve Harvey did the same thing that Kanye was trying to do, but just trying to say, hey, like, I have a position.
But it's not like Kanye was the only black nigga to embrace Trump when he first got elected.
I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
But
we're talking about people who are irrelevant to our actual cause.
Wait, before Trump was elected, like, it was a thing to put Trump in your records.
Like, that too. Before all of the political stuff.
Like, putting Trump in your...
If Trump never ran for president, Trump would have been in Amigos video just like Ric Flair was in Amigos video.
Yes.
Most definitely.
100%. Because everybody wanted to associate themselves with the money and the power and the wealth that Trump represented. But there's a fact about... So, if you want to go back in history, Marcus Garvey... Back in the day, Marcus Garvey started to associate himself with the KKK. And Marcus Garvey tried to, like, make amends with them and try to understand them on a better level by, you know, associating themselves with them to try and build that bridge. And black people thought he was a fucking... They were putting a whole bunch of labels on Marcus Garvey when that happened.
Why did he do that? Why did he do that?
It's obvious why he did. He wanted to make relations better. But at the same time...
So they actually talked to us in the Union papers. What he actually was trying to do was realize and learn what the core sense of why they were trying to be so separatist, because he was against
to try and build that bridge.
There's no bridge. He was against integration. So he was saying he wanted the same thing they wanted, was to keep our shit to our own fucking selves.
But I'm saying build the bridge between that communication. No, hold up. Build the bridge between that communication, because he had bought property in Africa to move black people back to Africa. And he wanted to build that bridge to let people understand, look, this is why the KKK is doing what they're doing. They want white, like, purity. We want black purity. So let me be that bridge of communication to let you understand why they do what they do. Now,
I'm just saying, like,
people thought he was crazy at that time. I don't know. I have to wait this out with Kanye, because I don't know if he's that brilliant and thinking that clearly, because he's been through some mental breakdowns and shit. Like, I don't know if he's doing what people hope he's doing, trying to be that bridge between hate and love. I don't know if he's using love as a cop-out or if he's actually really meaning that shit. I don't know if he's going to have a mental breakdown next week. Like, this dude is not stable, in my opinion. I think he needs help.
That was my the biggest takeaway of the TMZ whole entire rant. Like, what he could have done with that. I think the biggest thing that was missed on what he talked about was the opioid addiction and how much people are being prescribed opioids by doctors. He said, I went in to a hospital taking 2 and I came out recommended to take 7. Like, there are Big Pharma has taken over a lot of people's lives, and I think that was probably the biggest thing that he could have hit on and taken that as a bigger message that has just been completely whitewashed over and forgotten about. That was
drug
the biggest
abuse
thing
in Hollywood.
It's
huge. It's not crack.
Right.
It's fucking pills that doctors are prescribing. Michael Jackson died from the hands of a doctor.
It's also the bigger thing too is that the media literally controls celebrities. If you think about it, like you showed up at TMZ blaming TMZ for the reason why you got liposuction.
Right.
My nigga, didn't your mom die from?
Yo, that's another thing. I feel like if his mom was still alive, honestly, I mean, it's hard to what ifs, but
I just think that whole moment when he lost his mother,
he definitely lost. I don't even think he would be married to Kim Kardashian if his mom was alive.
That's the process of grief, though. Like, when I look at Kanye having these little spats, I don't think he had an opportunity to properly grieve. You know what I'm saying? Because it's such a responsibility that comes with death. And I think when you lose your parent,
and that was his rock too.
So hard. Like, I think I can only speak for myself, but it's like you're losing. I literally lost half of the reason why I exist, and it's like, how do you navigate throughout the world? So a part of it, you can either bury yourself in work, or the other part of it is you have these little vocal public outbursts.
And you know what? I don't know Kanye personally, but I know that whenever you're going through something, if you meet somebody that has been through something similar, it's like a connection and you feel bound to that person in a way. So with Kim Kardashian, he knows she lost her father, right? Yep. So he gets connected with, this is me just making something up, like making sense of it. You get connected with Kim Kardashian, but she's not a rock because of the situation that she's in with her family. Like, they've built this reality TV empire where nothing is real and everything's built off what looks good for TV and making a good story. So it's like
Kim would never lose her mind like I did because she got her family. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's building deep on that. Like, the fact that
he's spoken on
he
how
loves that family. He loves that family.
How his family has. They have. I mean, say what you want to
say.
Yeah,
the dude that extorted him and his family.
Say what you want to say about the Kardashians. They have a strong family structure.
They do.
That's important.
And
the mother runs it all. She's the rock. She's the
black
the
people.
Witch.
As black people, on average, we do not tend to have these structures where you can reach from the fucking great grandfather all the way to the great grandma, all the way to the fucking grandchild.
I think that's a black American thing, to be honest.
Okay, sure. So Kanye's a black American.
He is.
When I mean black people, usually I'm talking directly about AAs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's a lot. I mean, I can't really tell the numbers of how many Caribbean people are disjointed from their families just from the pure sake that they're here and y'all are there and y'all are here. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much of your family is still over in Jamaica right now? You know what I'm saying? And like, you would have a stronger family structure if they were all in New York. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera. So like, I think that yes, it'd be great if Kim. We don't know.
We don't know her. That's why I want to make that clear.
So, like, no, bro. We don't know what she's helping him with.
Yeah, I want to make that clear.
She's been with him. She ain't leave him like fucking like Shorty did.
Could have.
Like Michelle. What was her name?
She
Michelle.
could have definitely left him.
Yeah, she didn't leave him like that in the toughest times when we've seen her exit out of other relationships with the quickness.
So
I just think that we can't discredit him. He's got pure intentions. He's like, the love thing is an incredible message. It's just that we are, as black people, and I've had these conversations with people all over. I had it at the dinner table last night. Is that we as black people are entrenched in so much trauma. So much trauma. They said trauma is literally a genetic thing. Like, we have been dealing with it since slavery. Like, so if you come from slavery, then you got trauma in your DNA. You have hurt and pain, and we don't deal with it. And because of that, we are incredibly hairpin triggered. Incredibly. So when somebody we feel is supposed to say things that we want them to say all the time, stop saying them. We just don't even want it in our atmosphere anymore.
Which is another point that I want to make also. Like, I feel like we also have to remember that these people are human beings, and we have to, our favorite artists are going to evolve. What they evolve into, we may not agree with it all the time. And like, if this is a version of Kanye that we don't agree with, that's okay.
That's okay.
he doesn't owe anything to any of us at the end of the day.
And that's the thing. It's like we have to be careful with like how much stock we put into somebody because at the end of the day, they're just a human being, right? They bleed just like you and I do.